how to avoid fraudulent charges or fraud during these holiday seasons. If you follow me at all on my social media, I do a Facebook Live once a week on Friday, and that's one of the points that I talk about. And my team felt like it's important to talk about it now. So what can you do to help, one, prevent, and also if you do fall victim of fraud, is to move forward. One is always be aware of your surroundings. Okay, when I talk about this, not only am I talking about when you walk from your car to the store where it's a dark alley and all that stuff, we want to make sure you be conscious of the credit cards you have. Maybe use 1 or 2 credit cards during this holiday season. Don't try to use separate bank accounts because you might lose track of all the the purchases that you're making. Make sure you keep it close on your person. Purses are kind of like, I don't know, they look good on you ladies, but they're some of the easiest targets. Guys, make sure, I always try to tell people, keep it in your front pockets. That way, if somebody tries to pickpocket you or you lose something, you kind of can tell. I know this seems more about kind of safety than it is law, but I can tell you, when you have credit card charges or bank account charges, one of the things that you have is, one of the questions that these companies or the banks ask you is, what did you do to make sure that these things didn't happen? And you can always kind of come up and say, this is what I typically do, kind of this is, my behavior pattern. So now also, here's the second thing I'll tell you. Make sure you use credit cards versus debit cards. Your debit cards are directly tied to your bank accounts versus your credit cards. Your credit cards are tied to third-party source, even though it might be with your bank, it might be with a Visa or something like that, MasterCard. And what they do is they have certain requirements that the merchant has to check when they're swiping your credit card. And so they kind of give you another line of defense. Another thing that I would tell you in regards to this holiday season, when you're shopping online because of COVID-19, make sure you're shopping at a secure website, which it can be denoted HTTPS. The S signifies security website. So when you put your credit card information in there, make sure that it's one of those websites. So now, we talked about different ways to prevent it. What do you do after you fall victim to it? And I pray that all you guys can avoid this at some point. One is notify your banks immediately. I know people who are, from a merchant standpoint, from a business owner standpoint, who do process a lot. Make sure as a business owner, and now I'm not talking about the Black Friday shopper and the day before Christmas shopper. Now I'm talking about the business owner. If you're processing credit cards, you want to make sure you do your due diligence in checking the IDs, make sure it's a valid credit card, and make sure everything aligns perfectly. Yes, it takes more time. Yes, it might back your line up, but here's the thing. You don't have to worry about chargebacks. Because as long as you have identified this is the proper person using the right credit card, you should be good to go. So now to my consumers, if you fall victim to some type of fraudulent charges on your credit cards, now this is what you want to do. 1, call your bank, call your credit card company. Stop, shut down the credit card usage. 2, most of these institutions are going to want you to file a police report. So make sure you do that. Make sure you know where the last store you shopped at, where you might have left it, things of that sort. Now, here's a tidbit. I know I'm kind of going back and forth here, but it just popped in my mind. When you're using credit card, using your gas station pumps, or using some type of swipe ATM, make sure you check that card reader. I know it's kind of hard to tell, but that's where a lot of people are getting your credit card information. They basically, what it is essentially is you have the regular credit card scammer, slide, magnetic, whatever you want to call it, strip. Then you have another one that they put on top of it. So it's hard to detect. But usually the best way to detect is if it's sticking out further than what it normally does. So you want to make sure that you look at those, especially at your ATM. If you can, just go to the bank and get your money. Don't try to get from ATM, things of that sort. I've hit a few points. 1, how to prevent fraud, and then 2, what you can do after you fall victim to it. 1, always check your surroundings. 2, make sure you kind of keep a conscious mind of where your credit cards are, things of that sort. 3, make sure that you only use like a certain amount of credit cards, so you use maybe 1 or 2 during the holiday season that you're going to use for shopping. I know it's cumbersome. Don't try to keep a big purse or a big wallet full of stuff, because guess what? If you lose that wallet or you lose that purse, so still either one of those, guess what? You have a lot of credit cards to go through. Second thing I talked about in this video is if you wasn't able to prevent it, this is what you do from a legal perspective. One, make sure that you notify your banking institution or your credit card companies immediately. Then two, file a police report. And if things get serious, you might have to consult a lawyer. Typically, if you just kind of do your due diligence, notify your institutions, shut off your credit cards, and file that police report, you're typically good. But I have seen where credit card companies actually go after the individual who holds the card, especially if they're careless. They feel like they're careless, that you have a duty to cover. You have a duty to try to mitigate the damages, which a lot of people don't know. They just think, oh, if you lose something, that's it. No, you gotta make sure as soon as you find out to report it, because those charges could still follow you. This is Ronne Rice. I hope that this video is helpful. Please like, share, comment on my social media, my video. Please follow me on social media, Get Rice Now, that's GETRICENOW. Or give me a call or text, 205-222-9815. And yes, it is me.